maybe this video will help someone else also with a mid-2000s f250. This is an 06. And this pin dropped out on my foot the other day when I shifted. And I Googled around and people said it's related to the shifter, which would make sense. As soon as I shifted, this dropped out and hit me in the foot. You can see it's thinner on one end and knurled on the other. So it somehow went in here. I pulled out the dash. You pull it right off. Disconnect all the wires, obviously, and I pulled off the covers to the column here, to the shifter assembly, I guess. And I think I found it, because at first I was thinking, well, maybe it's nice, a pin holding the shifter in. So I took this off, and there's a pin right there. So this wasn't very sloppy. By the way, this bushing's kind of shot in here, but whatever. Not really worried about that. Under here, I started looking around, what could it be? This is an XL, so it doesn't have a adjustable column. Let me turn the flashlight on so you can see. All right, flashlight's on. And I had to make a makeshift repair for the shift indicator because the plastic broke, I don't know, a year ago or something like that. And I'm looking around for any holes. So let's see. Well, look at that. I saw that hole. And I was like, well, could that be it? And then just beside it is another one right there. Let me see if I can get a better angle on it. And look, it has the imprint of these knurls. I don't know if I'm using the right word. So I think the pin went right up in there. And when it fell out, it dropped straight out and came down and hit me in the foot. So I'm going to see if I can get this pin back up in there, just lightly, and then maybe I'll throw some Loctite on here if I can get it to hammer in again. I'm not sure what that is. All right, so that hole, I actually went back and looked at the video of me doing this little zip tie fix, and I didn't remember seeing, or I didn't see that metal shaft or whatever you want to call it sticking out. So I just took my finger on it and kind of wiggled the shifter around, and it shot up inside. So I think if I just kick that over a little bit, it'll line up those two holes. And that pin's supposed to keep whatever that metal thing is from slipping out. Okay, a bit of a hack alert here. Couldn't get that pin to go in right. It looks like it's pressed in from under, and there was no good way to, without taking the column apart further, to get at that. So what I did was I made up a couple little pins. Obviously it's thinner diameter than that pin, so it's not going to be as tight of a fit, but you can see what I've done is I just cut it and then kind of peened over the sides so that it can't just fall out. I did try putting a pin in the top, but it would have maybe worked. It was kind of loosey-goosey, and it could have fallen out, but you can kind of see here now. The only time it gets real low is in first, but the pin doesn't, there's park. What's that? Reverse drive. So that should be, we'll see if that works. I was curious, so I went and pulled up the schematic. So it looks like this is that little piece of metal, and then this is the pin. So 29 and 31. And I went down and looked 31 is called the gear shift lever pin, 7W441, and 70282 is the transmission control selector lower. So I went and got images. So here's that pin, 7W441. It looks exactly like the one that fell out. And 7D282 looks like that piece of metal lever, I guess, that I put the pin, my coat hanger pin through. So I guess those are the part numbers. Hope this is helpful for someone.